We're back live from the E3 Esports Zone. We are powered, of course, by Subnation, and we have had quite an extended break, but it's my absolute honor. My name is Machine. I am your host, and I am joined by Kari, like Ferrari. We didn't talk about your second name, though. Wahlgren, of course, voice actress extraordinaire, and close friend of the other fantastic voice actors I've had a chance to speak to.
It was crazy. You were talking about Courtney Taylor and Julie Nathanson, who are so talented, and I was like, that's my best friend. That's my other best friend. They're wonderful.
I have my Nerds Vote pin from my experience.
I was going to wear my shirt, and it was not clean.
But I like this one, too. Rock and roll saves lives.
Rock and roll saves lives.
Hell yeah. A rock and roll fan?
Yes.
Yeah?
Huge Slaughter fan.
Oh, hell yes.
Yes.
Okay. So first things first, how many times, like on a daily convention day, is your name mispronounced? Like we're talking...
Probably 30.
Bloody
30
hell.
times a day.
Yeah. And I was one of them about 5 minutes ago.
It's all right. But I like that you're educating the public.
Kari, like Ferrari. I love it. And Kari.
Yeah,
Ferrari.
right?
It really
right?
It's fun
It's hot.
to say. I really
Sounds
enjoy
cool.
it. But my goodness, I mean, a star-studded list of games. I'm sure anyone watching, the chances are they've heard your voice. I mean, I would just start listing the games I play. You're like, oh yeah, no, I did some World of Warcraft. Yeah, I did some Mortal Kombat 11. I mean, this is the big one. Brand new.
I was the voice of Katana in the recent Mortal Kombat 11, which was so huge because I was such a fan of the franchise, and I've never gotten to do a voice for it before. And I remember playing Mortal Kombat 3, like in the Pizza Hut or the local arcade. And, I'd always play as Sonya Blade, and she'd had that little jazzercise outfit.
They all wear jazzercise
That's
outfits,
true.
really. Yeah.
That's the kind of true.
I don't think anyone's ever said it, but now you've said it.
You'll never unsee that
Yeah,
now.
the Call on Me video, but with like blades.
But it was great.
yeah.
It was my favorite.
But I mean, so Mortal Kombat 3 in Pizza Hut to Mortal Kombat 11. I mean, the gratuitous violence has got a little. Like we have got. Were you surprised? Mortal Kombat was transformed with the technology.
Holy cow! They actually filmed me in the studio when they showed me my character trailer for the first time, and I kept going, "Oh, gosh, she just decapitated that guy with it." Yeah, it's insane.
It really is. I mean, it does seem to be. That is a summary of Mortal Kombat now. You know, with 8-bit, there were some limitations when it was pixel art. Now we are seeing spines ripped out. It's a whole different ballgame. How was it though? How was kind of channeling that side of you with the voice work?
Oh, anytime I get to channel my rage, I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, a cathartic experience?
It really is, because when we record video games in the studio, we usually have pages and pages of just fighting reactions and death reactions.
How are they, do they write them like phonetically, like, oof, ah?
It's a good question.
How do you spell it?
Okay, so what usually happens, it'll say, small punching react, medium punching react, large punching react, and then it'll be like small getting punched react, and then it gets into, depending on how creative your deaths are in the game. I've been strangled by piano wire and electrocuted by, a fence.
And you have to sit there in a studio and go, okay.
How would I sound if I were fed into a wood
chipper? Can I hear a small punching react, please? Oh.
And then if you got punched, it'd be like,
ooh.
There you go.
Sign me up.
Yeah, right?
That was more of a medium punch react.
That was kind of more.
Was that heavy?
That was a kick. I feel like I just kicked you on that. Right? And then what if it's like a big kick?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Do it, Alex.
Okay, a big kick?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, you died. I heard it.
Yeah,
you were
right?
Like, that is a new side to my voice actor knowledge that I've expanded over these last 3 days.
Right, well.
So just...
The more you know.
I mean, that is very interesting. Of course, those sounds have to be generated. In my mind, it was like a Foley. I don't know, like kind of he's sitting there like smashing rocks together to make that sound.
Yeah, it's crazy. We do all of those little
sounds. It's all
sounds.
vocally driven. I had no idea.
Yeah. So it can be really grueling work
Yeah.
on video games.
No, for sure. So not just Mortal Kombat, DC Supergirls as well, another recent project of yours.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to me about DC Supergirls.
DC Superhero Girls is a new show on Cartoon Network, and I play Zatanna. And it's such a great show. Like, I'm so into superheroes, and it was kind of the show that I wanted as a girl, because it follows, Supergirl, Wonder Woman, Batgirl, Zatanna,
The
all
icons,
of these,
the
all
icons.
the icons as they're growing up and going to high school and fighting crime.
And something that I found really interesting when we had our very brief meeting before the camera started rolling was you told me that voice acting work was something you kind of set your sights on and pursued from quite a young age. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. That's unique. That's not very common. I mean, not many people grow up and go, I really want to be a voice actor. I mean, people incredibly talented, and people are, people pursue it once they realize it exists. But from my chats with Courtney, my chats with Julie, it was more of a, oh, this exists and I love it, as opposed to I want to be this when I grow up.
It's pretty odd. I was such a fan of cartoons when I was little, and I had this sense that there were people doing the voices. And so my parents said when I was like 5 or 6 that I told them I want to be the voice of a Disney cartoon. So it was always something kind of in the back of my mind that I wanted to do that. And then, then you start discovering, oh, there are voices in video games. There are voices coming out of the toys in the store. There are voices now coming out of the GPS in your car. And
yeah, how's your Siri?
My Siri is pretty good, Alex.
Oh my goodness. That was like if Siri and GLaDOS from Portal had a kind of voice baby. That was, okay.
Do not turn left.
I love this. Oh wait, can you give me you've arrived at your destination?
You have arrived at your destination.
Okay, sign me up. Let's get a whole package done. We'll do the Kari like Ferrari voice pack, and we'll distribute.
I love it.
Yeah?
I actually, I'm the voice of Rick's spaceship on Rick and Morty, and they wrote a whole episode.
Is this the one where it's in the car park and it's defending Summer?
The Keep Summer Safe episode, yeah.
No way. I love that episode.
They wrote that one because we were messing around in the studio, and I was like, turn left, you idiot. And they're like, wouldn't that be fun if we wrote this episode and the car was like getting all sassy?
And just being rude to strangers
and
in
being
the car
rude
park.
to strangers, yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's unique, that's for sure.
There you go.
Yeah. So the unknown aspect of voice acting, I feel like there's a lot of kind of mystery surrounding you guys, because when I hear a character, all I'm processing is that's the character, that's the voice, that's just who they are. And I feel like, whenever I see these fantastic montages of like all the characters and just with the same person in one take, just going through this like wide variety of different characters, all of ages and genders, and I always find it very impressive. What's something that people who are unfamiliar with voice acting work may be surprised to learn about this job, this world you live in?
Oh, man.
Nice vague question to really
I know, right?
screw you over.
There's so much. Well, a lot of times people are surprised that in a lot of situations we don't record together. So that's kind of a sad surprise for some people that, a lot of times with a cartoon show and most of the time in video games, we record separately. Yeah, I think the biggest thing about voiceover is you don't realize like how much you rely on maybe your face or your body language or things like that to tell a story or create a character. And when you get into the booth and you start doing voiceover, you have to realize like, oh, it's all coming through your vocal interpretation.
Right, but there is a physicality to the way that
Absolutely.
voice comes from, which in my naivety, I don't know why, you were just kind of sitting there like a kind of a drone just doing different voices, but the reality is you're bouncing around a room pulling funny faces to create the different characters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I post on Instagram every once in a while little clips from sessions when it's something that I can post. and it's about the most unsexy job possible.
No, I don't believe you.
You have to be able to laugh at yourself to do it.
Yeah, I mean especially the fact that there isn't someone to play off. I imagine that would take some getting used to if someone was first trying to get into this kind of work, realizing that the chemistry, you know, what's the word I'm trying to? Yeah, chemistry is probably the best word. Between characters is manufactured solo.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And sometimes if the person that you're working off of records before you, they'll play their lines in your headset, and that's the best. Then you're actually...
Right. That's luxury voiceover.
That's luxury.
Yeah,
voice
but that's not always a
acting.
luxury you're afforded.
No.
So a very solo experience with a lot of jumping around and feeling unsexy. That's voiceover work summarized by Khari.
Pretty much. Lots of fart noises and lots
Fart
of
noises.
dying over and over again in video games.
Medium hit.
Medium
heavy
hit.
Kick. Extreme death.
Right.
Well, I mean, with Mortal Kombat 11, I'm sure there was plenty of that.
There was a lot of that. Spoiler, there's lots of
Extreme
carnage in Mortal Kombat 11.
Fantastic. Okay, so I do want to make sure I covered this last thing I wrote down because it was talking about the fact that you recorded it on tapes. I'm kind of stepping back here, but you were recording voices on cassette tape. For those of you that are unfamiliar, maybe we should explain what a cassette tape is.
100 years ago, there were these things called cassette tapes. No, when I was a kid, you know, I would just be recording my voice onto cassette tapes, and I would be mailing them to anybody that I could even remotely find at the end of the cartoons that I thought might be able to hire me. And I wrote letters to like casting people when I was a teenager and said, I hope to be in voiceovers one day, and I hope to meet you.
And look at you now.
And it worked out okay, I guess.
I mean, that would be an interesting question, just to wrap this one up, is your advice to people that want to get into that space, that perhaps even just, you know, hearing these inspiring conversations over these 3 days, think maybe this is something I could do. Maybe they do a mean Kermit with their friends, or they could do a Siri when they're at a party somewhere. But maybe what would be your advice? How do you possibly break into what feels like this kind of quite intimidating space?
One of the first things that I tell people, and it seems like such a simple thing, is get to know your voice first. Like, have you ever left a message on somebody's answering machine and you hear it back later and you're like, oh, do I really sound like that?
I hate the sound of my voice, and my job is my voice.
And there you go. I hate the sound of my voice sometimes.
Okay, oh, thank God, we're in the same boat here.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've all had that time, and but when you go into voiceover, you have to kind of think of it as this is your instrument, you know? So you have to get to know what your instrument can do. And so just start reading out loud every day. A lot of times we don't get the scripts in advance for certain things. So being able to just like get something handed to you and be able to read it out loud right away is also really helpful. So
and there's no like tech limitations, or are you suggesting like as soon as you can, good microphone, doesn't matter, do it on your phone? I mean, what can you truly? Can I create a little portfolio with anything?
My famous phrase, and I will live and die by this phrase, is a bad voiceover demo is worse than no demo at all. So don't put one of those together until you feel a little bit more comfortable with you know,
your
what
voice,
your with your voice, and until you've gotten a chance to, you know, get some material that's going to be a strong demo. You just don't want to put one out there that's that says, "Hi, I'm really inexperienced and green."
Right.
So
the summary, the conclusion we can draw here is that take your time, truly understand your voice before you start throwing cassette tapes to anyone at the end of cartoons, and truly just until you are fully comfortable with using your voice in a multitude of different ways, just keep practicing and reading.
Yeah, just don't be in a rush to throw a lot of money at a demo until you're ready.
Fantastic. Oh, Khari, it's been an absolute honor. Let's do a long distance handshake. And we are going to go ahead and close this one out. Our machine, this is a shirt with pineapples on it. This is Kari Wahlgren, and it's Khari like Ferrari, a fantastic lesson that we've all learned today.